Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Alpine has launched an internal investigation to understand what went wrong with Franco Colapinto's pit stops during the Hungarian Grand Prix. The Argentine driver suffered 2 unusually slow stops, which ultimately contributed to his disappointing 18th place finish, a frustrating outcome after a promising qualifying performance. Colapinto started from 14th place after advancing to Q2 and opted for a 2-stop strategy. He began the race on medium tires and made his first visit to the pits on lap 15 to switch to hard tires. However, this first stop lasted an astonishing 11 seconds, far above the typical 2 to 3 seconds we expect in Formula One. Later, on lap 38, Colapinto returned to the pits for another set of hard tires, but again the stop was unusually slow, clocking in at 7 seconds. These were the 2 slowest pit stops of the entire race, except for Nico Hülkenberg's 9.6-second stop, which included a penalty. Meanwhile, his teammate Pierre Gasly made just 1 quick and clean stop, completed in an average 2.5 seconds. This contrast only reinforced that Colapinto's slow stops were not part of the team's planned strategy, but the result of operational issues in the garage. According to Alpine, the main suspect is a software glitch in the pit release system. For those unfamiliar, Formula One uses a safety mechanism where each mechanic must press a button after completing their specific task. Only when all the confirmations are received does the system give the green light for the driver to leave. The current working theory is that the pneumatic gun used on the rear wheel failed to send the correct signal that the tire change was complete. This error may have locked the system and delayed the release of the car on both occasions. Motorsport.com reports that the team considers this an unfortunate coincidence, but is working to confirm whether the software malfunction was indeed the cause. If verified, Alpine will need to address the issue immediately to avoid similar problems in future races. For Colapinto, the incident comes at a particularly delicate time in his career. He desperately needs strong performances to secure his place on the grid, and setbacks like this, even when not his fault, could damage his prospects. Rumors are already circulating that he might not return to Alpine after the summer break. This situation leaves fans and analysts divided. Some believe Colapinto has shown flashes of talent and deserves more time to develop. Others argue that his performances have been too inconsistent and that Alpine might benefit from giving the seat to another driver. What's your take? Is the Argentine simply suffering from bad luck, or has he failed to convince that he belongs in Formula One? Let us know what you think as we continue to follow the story and await Alpine's final findings from this investigation. Lewis Hamilton's weekend at the Hungarian Grand Prix was, without a doubt, one of the most difficult of his recent career. After a disappointing qualifying session that saw him start from a distant 12th place on the grid, Hamilton failed to mount any meaningful recovery during Sunday's race, despite competing on a track where he has traditionally performed well and secured multiple victories throughout his career. Saturday's post-qualifying interview gave fans and analysts a rare glimpse into Hamilton's current mindset, and it wasn't encouraging. The 7-time world champion appeared visibly dejected and even went as far as questioning his value within the Ferrari team, referring to himself as useless and suggesting, perhaps in a moment of raw honesty, that the team might consider replacing him if they wanted better results. His frustration was amplified by the contrast with teammate Charles Leclerc, who managed to secure pole position, clearly showcasing the potential of the Ferrari car in the right hands. Sunday's race only added to Hamilton's disappointment. He remained far from the points and failed to show the race pace that once defined his career. During his post-race interview with Sky Sports, Hamilton again looked emotionally drained. When asked directly whether he was considering leaving Ferrari, he responded by stating clearly that he wasn't, at least not yet. "I still love racing. I still love Ferrari," he said, promising that he would be on the grid for the Dutch Grand Prix after the summer break. Despite his emotional tone, Hamilton did try to highlight a few positives. He acknowledged that the car had improved significantly over the last few races, even if he personally had not been able to extract its full potential. "It's a shame I couldn't understand it better this weekend," he admitted, "but I'll keep trying to get everything out of it." However, it was Hamilton's final remarks that stirred the most speculation. He stated that there were many things happening behind the scenes that were troubling him, although he stopped short of explaining what those things were. His cryptic comment immediately fueled discussions among fans and pundits alike, with many wondering whether internal team politics, technical disagreements, or strategic decisions were starting to wear down the legendary driver. The contrast between his current form and his championship-winning years is striking. Hamilton is no longer dominating the grid as he once did, and while Ferrari had hoped his presence would bring renewed energy and momentum, the reality has been far more complex. The team's decision to bring him on was seen as bold and visionary, pairing experience with youth in the form of Leclerc, but the chemistry and performance haven't yet yielded the expected results. As the season progresses and pressure mounts, questions will naturally arise about Hamilton's future. Will he finish the season with Ferrari and start 2026 in red? Or if the downward trend continues, will we witness an unexpected departure before the new regulations kick in? One thing is clear. Hamilton's love for racing hasn't faded, but something is clearly bothering him within the walls of Maranello. The question is, will those issues be resolved in time to save this partnership, or are we witnessing the beginning of an early exit from the Scuderia? What's your take? Do you think Hamilton will remain with Ferrari for the next season? Or will the unresolved tensions behind the scenes push him toward an early exit? Let us know in the comments. Hello everyone, here's a quick and straightforward update to keep you informed about the latest developments in Formula One. Red Bull is both relieved and highly motivated after securing Max Verstappen's presence for the next season. The confirmation was met with enthusiasm inside the team, which can now focus entirely on the development of its 2026 car. This new machine will be built under a fresh technical regulation, and according to the team, it must be competitive to avoid going through the same uncertainties they've faced recently. Over the past few weeks, Red Bull's performance has declined, and that naturally opened the door for speculation. Rumors began circulating in the paddock, with multiple behind-the-scenes negotiations taking place. Mercedes, in particular, made its interest in signing Verstappen very clear. Still, with so much uncertainty surrounding next year, Verstappen has decided to commit to staying at Red Bull for now. His long-term decision will come later, especially after he sees the new cars on track and finds out which team adapts best to the upcoming regulations. While Verstappen's position is now settled, there's still an open question about the second Red Bull seat. Yuki Tsunoda, Verstappen's current teammate, does not have a guaranteed place for next season. His 2025 results have not been particularly convincing. Although the team acknowledges some improvement in the Japanese driver's performance, reports suggest that Red Bull has already decided not to keep Tsunoda for 2026. One name that keeps coming up in discussions is Zach O'Sullivan, who is reportedly being considered for the seat. Additionally, Red Bull is evaluating the possibility of bringing a new rookie into Racing Bulls, its sister team. This would create a reshuffle in the driver lineup across the organization. Behind the scenes, both Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko and team principal Laurent Mekies have emphasized how important Verstappen's confirmation is. According to them, this removes a massive weight from their shoulders. They can now focus entirely on designing and developing the new car with the certainty that Verstappen will be in it for 2026. The team also believes that Verstappen's commitment will push him to give his maximum effort in helping to shape a competitive car. With his feedback and involvement, Red Bull hopes to ensure that the RB model for 2026 will be capable of fighting at the front from the very first race. Now, the big question is whether Red Bull can actually deliver. The new regulations represent both a challenge and an opportunity. Teams that adapt quickly could dominate the early years of this new era, while those who miss the mark might struggle for seasons to come. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The commitment of a driver like Max Verstappen is an asset any team would value. Whether Red Bull can capitalize on it will depend entirely on how well they execute their 2026 project. So what's your take? Do you believe Red Bull will manage to build a truly competitive car and keep Verstappen beyond 2026? Or do you think other teams might lure him away once the new era begins? Stay tuned, and we'll keep you updated with everything you need to know from the world of Formula One. Always direct, always focused on what really matters.